I want to do this video because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to leave employment. I know what it's like to make that decision. I know what it's like to walk out instantly and leave everyone behind, tell them all to F off. I know what it's like to walk into the unknown. I know what it's like to have no money when you're walking into the unknown. I know what it's like to do something that you like and do it for months with only one person turning up each time, or maybe two at max. I know what it's like to have overnight success. I know what it's like to turn up to work and the next day it's like brimming with people and you don't know what the hell to do about it. I know what it's like to continue that. I know what it's like to have, full sessions all the time and be fully booked. I know what it's like to overcrowd things to bring in more money. I know what it's like to have lots of cash in my hand and also money in the bank. I know what it feels like to then start going out for lots of meals with lots of friends and everyone wanting your attention and vying for your attention. I know what it's like to have an email list full of people just asking you lots of questions and stuff. I know what it's like to turn up and be so stressed. I know what it's like to have people working for you. I know what it's like when they can't turn up. I know what it's like when you praise other people that are working for you due to praise of everyone, and then everyone else gets jealous, not realizing that you're due to praise them too. I know what it's like to be slated for the work that you do. I know what it's like to stand outside of my session before I was going in and to see on social media that someone had been slating me and slagging me off in a group of thousands of people. I know what it's like to become pregnant during that time when everything's going incredibly well. I know what it's like to go on maternity leave. I know what it's like when you're so tired that you can't be asked to fill in your maternity stuff, so you don't get maternity pay. I know what it's like to have my third C-section, because I've had 3. I know what it's like to rehabilitate myself through each and every one of them. I know what it's like to have my the third one and come out of it and not to be walking 2 weeks later and having to have a fireman's lift. I know what it's like to be on the internet 3 hours after having my C-section, making sure my business is going well. I know what it's like to be awake all night due to my business every single fucking night thinking about the thing. I know what it's like to make really bad business decisions and spend lots of money and hemorrhage money as well. I know what it's like to invest in things that I don't really need. I know what it's like to go back to work earlier than what I expected. I know what it's like to try and rehabilitate myself back into work because I was actually in the health industry and doing lots of classes. I know what it's like to feel like I'm going to have a prolapse while training one of my clients. I also knew what it was like just before I went on maternity leave to have a towel put underneath me just in case I was going to give birth while swinging a kettlebell. I know what it's like to feel like you're all alone, like you are seeing things. I know what it's like to go through postnatal depression while you're running a business. I know what it's like to feel suicidal while you're running a business. I know what it's like to take your foot off the gas. I know what it's like to put your foot on the gas. I know what it's like when everyone's slating you on the online space and you're taking it all in because you believe it. I know what it's like when you have to take responsibility of your own shit. You have to sort all yourself out. I know what it's like to have kids running around, not being able to look after my house at home, not being able to look after my own children. and try and maintain a really positive exterior. I know what it's like to take ages to make a decision to close a business. I know what that decision's like. I know what it's like to film that last video. I know what it's like to feeling like letting all your clients down and they do get cross and angry and upset. I do know what it's like. I know what it's like, for them to feel sadness as well. I know what it's like to delete thousands of emails. I know what it's like to work with thousands of people. I know what it's like to go into something completely brand new, thinking it's going to work, and then you're taking on everyone else's stuff and everyone else's things. I know what it's like to speak on stages at the IOD, places at Heathrow and all over the place. I know what it's like to speak in front of a lot of people. I know what it's like to fall out with people. I know what it's like to fall out in business partnerships. I know what it's like to be taken advantage of. I know what it's like to decide that you're going to go it alone. I know what it's like when you feel like the world is ending because everyone's against you. I also equally know what it's like to go into something new and still for things not to work and keep failing and failing and failing. I know what it's like to self-sabotage and procrastinate. I know what it's like to lose a parent while you're doing your work and having to go to hospitals and stuff. I know what it's like for a child to leave home when you're going through all your work and things. I know what it's like to be a grandma. I know what it's like to have multiple children, an adult and teenagers and things. I also equally know what it's like to create something off the back of someone dying. I know what it's like to create an event again, and I know what it's like to work with people. I know what it's like when you don't fulfill everyone's expectations. I also know what it's like when you do fulfill everyone's expectations. I know what it's like to decide to take time off to be a mum. I know what it's like to shut everything down and realise I have everything that I need to be able to do that. I realise as well that I also know what it's like as a mum to get that drive, to get that feeling. I know what it's like to sit at home and realise, actually, I want to create still. I know what it's like to step away from social media, step away from the noise, step away from the comparisons, step away from the bullshit conversations which are just, oh my God, you're doing so amazing, when it just is just all fake. I know what it's like to be alone. I know what it's like to lose a lot of friends. I know what it's like to stop drinking alcohol. I know what it's like to stop taking drugs. I know what it's like to stop being addicted to many things. I know what it's like to lose things. I know what it's like to overcome things. I know what it's like to get up again. I know what it's like to start again. I know what it's like to start rebuilding again. I know what it's like to have that uncertainty and that scarcity and all the shit that comes with it. I know what it's like to be worried about failing again. I know what it's like to be masking your feelings. I know what it's like to tell bullshit stuff on video to people and and look at your own life and like, oh, it's falling to shit. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have, to be a controlling parent. I know what it's like to fall out with my kids. I know what it's like to struggle with my children. I know what it's like to take everything on. I know what it's like to, cry for hours on my bed because I've not, worked through something with my kids. I know what it's like to fall out in a relationship. I know what it's like to be married for a long time. We've been together 25 years now, and maybe more than that by the time you watch this video. But I know what it's like to go through and overcome a lot of things. And I know what it's like when you get that drive again what comes up? Will all these things happen again? Will I experience burnout again? Will I go through this issue again? Will this thing happen to me again? Will I go through those partnerships again? Will I lose money like I did before again? And if you're like me and you've been in debt before and you've got out of it, and you're debt free, and you're not in that position anymore, will I be able to trust these things again? Will I be able to go through this again? Will I be able to push myself again? Of course you'll be able to push yourself. You will push yourself to the high ends of the earth because you want something. That's what makes me an incredible mentor and goal alignment expert. Because I'm the expert in getting up again. I'm the expert in supporting my clients to literally achieve the things that they really want to achieve with their body intact. It's never always necessarily about the goal, it's always about the journey. With the clients that I speak to, a lot of people just want to be really happy on that journey, right? But there is a sense of boredom that kicks in when you are just doing nothing. There are things that you want to do, there are things that you want to create. Many people, become a stay-at-home wife or whatever, but then create blogs or create something, and start doing something because it's for them. I'm not saying you're here to create a blog or anything like that. It might just be that you're here to step into leadership or into business, or you're already in leadership, you're already in business, and you want to kind of balance that, the tapestry of life with what you're doing. But everyone has a goal, whether it's a health goal, a life goal, a business goal. Everyone has a goal that they want to get to. And people go, I don't have goals. Yes, you do. There's always something that you want, right? Because we're here to evolve. And you might call it an intention and you might call it something else. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's still a goal that you want to reach. And the thing is, I'm going to be really honest with you now. You may never get to that goal, right? Let's just be honest. You could die tomorrow. But I think sometimes, we'd rather die trying than not at all. But the thing is, many of us want both sides of the coin. We want a really great life and we want we want the goal as well. Whatever that goal is for you. For me, it's a few things. It's like DJing, right? It's like, realizing big dreams, goals, DJing, creating a beautiful business memberships and VIP strategy alignment days and stuff. I love doing that. I love working in person with people. I love working online with people. And I'm really freaking good at it too, right? And my background as a ex-personal trainer, as a health coach, I was always helping people, and I know the incredible skill set of what it takes to set goals. I also equally know on the opposite side of that of how our subconscious and our stress affects our body too, and how we can move differently, how we can eat differently, how we can do things differently that make a massive impact in our life and towards our goals. That when we are pushing for goals, that when we are staying up at till 12 o'clock at night to try and finish something off, that we actually know that we're going to do, that is what we're doing, and it actually feels really good. A lot of the time it will feel really good because you are looking after yourself, because you're having the fun that you need, you're giving yourself the things that you like, and you're spending time with other people that you love as well. So I know what it's like to go through a lot of things. And I know what it's like to get back up again and get your ass shifted. So if I sound like the mentor for you, then just click the link below and let's get in touch and let's have that chat and let's take that journey together. Speak soon.